We're getting closer and closer to the final chapter of Stranger Things, and at this point, we can't do anything but look back at how amazing the series has been. The details of Season 5 are yet to be revealed. Most of us are trying our best to predict what'll happen next. In this video, we'll be talking about what we know about Season 5. First off, a recap of Season 4. The fourth season was divided into 2 parts. Good thing too, because those hour-and-a-half-long episodes were really hard to binge. The show introduced us to a new villain, Vecna, played by the talented Jamie Campbell Bower. A new character, Eddie Munson, also made his short-lived debut, but his screen time was enough to gather millions of fans everywhere. The big bad was revealed to be one from the Institute 11 grew up in. It was Elle that sent him into the Upside Down. For real though, that episode giving us Henry's backstory was so good. Towards the end, 11 defeats Vecna in an epic standoff and revives Max back to life. Yeah, apparently she can do that too now. But bringing her back to life wasn't enough because she's now in a coma and none of us know what it means for her in Season 5. Max could probably be back in the Upside Down like Will was in the first season. The finale sets up the next chapter flawlessly because clearly there's a bigger and scarier threat out there for our favorite group to take on. Now for the release date. Around August, the Twitter account for the Stranger Things writing room tweeted a blank whiteboard with the caption Day 1, hinting that Season 5 is under production. We don't have an official release date yet, but we can always put our thinking caps on and start calculating an approximate time. Season 4 started production in early 2020, but due to the pandemic, filming wrapped up by late 2021. Add in post-production with all the editing and VFX, you need at least 6 months for that. The season was released in May of 2022, so it took nearly 2 years, while keeping COVID restrictions in mind, to make an entire season. This means it takes over a year to complete an entire season from shooting to editing, and since production for the 5th season started around August, we can expect the final chapter by late 2023. No rush to the Duffer Brothers though. We're well aware that masterpieces take a lot of time to perfect. Following up with Season 5's runtime, the creators said that they want to narrow down the length of each episode compared to the previous season, since the characters already have their goals set and all they need to do is dive into action. A lot of hours that would be used to set up the plot will be saved. On the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, the siblings said that the finale is likely to be a feature-length and something Return of the King-ish with 8 endings. For those who haven't seen the Lord of the Rings movies, the last part is over 3 hours long, and the director's cut is around 4.5 hours. We're in for something spectacular. As for the endings, the extended version of the Lord of the Rings threequel had a series of conclusions where each scene faded to black, giving a happy ending to each character. If this is the case for Stranger Things, we'll need a lot of tissues to console a lot of crying fans. Also by the end of August, the writers' room tweeted a picture of a grid on a whiteboard where each square represented an episode. Unfortunately, we picked up just 8 squares, so it will be 1 episode short next season. Let's look at other ways Season 4 and 5 will differ. The showrunners realized some faults in the latest 9-episode run. One of the main drawbacks the season faced was the overly stuffed and convoluted storylines as the gang was separated into 4 different locations. Not only did this need a larger budget, but some arcs ran longer than they needed to be, like the whole escape from the Russian prison plot with Joyce, Murray, and Hopper. Sure, it was needed to make sense of the bigger picture, but many fans agree that it was unnecessarily long. Now that the whole group is back in Hawkins, the writers probably learned their lesson and should give us a cleaner plot. Less split stories mean more fun interactions between the characters that everyone's missed since the beginning of the show. Up next, predictions for the final chapter. If you don't give us a plot, we'll just start speculating and make bizarre predictions for what's to come. Some of the famous theories is that fan favorite Eddie Munson will return, but as Vecna's accomplice. This goes well with the Dungeons & Dragons lore, which is actually a really fun theory. Here's an explanation. So, in the D&D game, Cass is a vampire that wields the Sword of Cass. The sword convinces him to betray Vecna and usurp his power, which leads to a battle that costs Vecna his eye and hand. Now, since Eddie died by being swarmed by demibats, one can only think that he turned into a vampire, right? Also, he stood his guard ever so heroically with a makeshift shield and sword, like a true knight. The theory really makes sense, especially when you factor in Dustin being the voice of the sword that convinces Eddie to betray Vecna. It could work out pretty well if executed properly. But on the other hand, this could all be a desperate ploy for fans to bring back their beloved character. Other than that, some think that 11 has a sister that'll help her in defeating Vecna and the big bad of the underworld once and for all. Sounds like a reach, yeah, but now that we know Elle has siblings back in Hawkins' laboratory that included Henry, who knows who else is roaming the streets of their town. Let's look at what we actually know about the show. Theories aside, the Duffers gave us very little to work with, as if they were speaking in riddles. It's confirmed that the center of attention is going to be Will, because the poor kid can never catch a break. In one of their interviews, Matt Duffer said that the conclusion to the entire series has already been planned from the start, and all they need to do is make the rest of the story fall into that. He also thinks that whatever's going to happen at the end is inevitable. He better not be hinting at any major death, because fans will rain more terror than Vecna and all the Demogorgon combined if they hurt any of their children. The season will serve as a coming-of-age story for the primary focus of the show, Will. We've seen him struggling with the Upside Down since he was a cute little kid, but now the showrunners are going to explore the characters on an emotional level, and most of us know where that's heading already, now that we got a glimpse of a grown-up grown-up version of his friendship with Mike. Also, Season 4 had detailed flashbacks where people from Hawkins literally relive a moment in the past. This may hint at a possibility for time travel to be a part of Season 5's plot. Who can forget that Eleven can now bring people back to life and undo whatever their deaths cause? The Duffer Brothers also confirmed that the next season will be more emotional than the last because they saw some of the executives crying after hearing the plot. Oh boy, Lord have mercy on us all. Now for the cast. It's obvious that the main cast will return because there's no Stranger Things without them. Millie Bobby Brown, Finn Wolfhard, Sadie Sink, Noah Schnapp, and everyone else is all reprising their roles for the epic conclusion to the 6-year-long series. The showrunners confirmed that they won't be introducing any new characters like they do every season, like Robin, Susie, and so on. The only exception could be Robin's new love interest that she met in the season finale, when they were all helping people affected by Vecna's earthquake. The plus side of this is that since the season will mainly take place at Hawkins, we're familiar with almost every character, and bringing in someone new would require unnecessary screen time to establish a bond between the person and the rest of the cast. The fate of Eddie Munson is yet to be revealed. Joseph Quinn, who plays the leader of the Hellfire Club, said how he'd love to return and would be very mad if they don't bring him back. The vampire theory does make sense, but we're pretty sure he'll return in some sort of flashback, like Darcy Montgomery did whenever Max thought of her brother. To witness the conclusion of their favorite show on Netflix, fans will have to wait just a little bit longer. And that's all the time we have for this video. What are all your predictions for Season 5? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and hit that subscribe button to see more of our content. See you in the next one.